Hello everyone, I am BaltMatrix, and behold, Galvatron! Kingdom Galvatron comes from Grim over in Wisconsin. You might know him as the wonderful customizer extraordinaire, who he was kind enough to pick this up at a local Target, and he's also picked up a Rhinox for me, and that is currently being shipped my way. This is quite possibly the best looking Galvatron we have ever gotten. Yeah, it's more G1, but I'm okay with that in this respect because this is just a dang good Galvatron. Purple Megatron comes with a couple of accessories, the first of which is his giant cannon that has, well, it's just a big cannon, and it splits into two different components, the back part and the barrel. The barrel pegs into the front of the cannon mode, or artillery mode, and then the back part just gets plopped on the top. It's really cool. It's just really nice, and it's actually made from 4 different pieces. There are 4 separate pieces in this thing. It can be wielded on either one of the siege ports that's on the upper arm or on the forearm. The cannon may be hand-carried in robot mode, but it doesn't look real good, because quite frankly, the peg is too short and the forearms are too thick. But what can be hand-carried in robot mode are these cute little ship gun things that are molded after the ship that shows up in the movie. And he's got 2 of them, and then they combine. And it looks so stupid, I love it. It really looks like something out of Star Wars. It's so dumb. Unfortunately, he can't put both arms together and wield the ship guns like I wish he could. I'm sure there's some way I could figure it out, maybe, but it would just look stupid, and this is fine. The ships may be mounted on these little pegs on the back to be used later, and it works. It just works. I like it. And also, you can have them turned upside down if you don't like having ship pylons sticking off your Galvatron. You could just flip them around and peg them in, though getting them pegged in either way isn't the easiest thing in the world, I have found. You really got to use a lot of force there in order to get those suckers pegged in. And the last accessory that the figure comes with is a little bit of bling. He comes with a little matrix on a chain. I love it! All told, in robot mode, this Galvatron is just beautiful. I love it. That's not to say he doesn't have flaws, though. Now, a flaw in my book is all the stupid schmutz, all this blue dirt and grime. I really don't like it. I'll be doing a separate video on how to get rid of it. It's very easy, oddly enough. Thanks to @Cheetamus over at Twitter for pointing me in the direction. That video will be coming up in another day or so. Okay, the other flaw has to do with the posability of the feet. Now, the feet have these little pylons sticking off for use in the cannon mode, and the legs, or the rear legs, are pegged together thanks to these purple pieces on the back of the lower legs. That limits the posability of the feet to just that far. If you untransform the figure a little bit, you can then get more posability, but then you're practically ripping the leg in half. So you don't get as posable of a figure, but what you can do is, if you really want to pose it, you can untransform it a little bit, pull the pylon out that's in the lower leg, and just stick it off to the side, and then you've got posability for days. In fact, you've actually got a little bit of extra stability added in thanks to the little pylon there. Far and away, though, the biggest flaw in the figure has to do with the shoulders. Now, you may have already noticed my figure is a first-run figure, so the shoulders were misassembled, which sucks. They are supposed to be assembled so that the shoulders sit higher on the figure, like this. That is the way they're supposed to be assembled. Obviously, that didn't happen. Now, there are a couple of tutorials out there for putting a screwdriver into the shoulder bits, wiggling them, and popping this rivet out. I'm just not going to do that. If I get a hold of a second figure that I will probably ask my good buddy Grimlockamus to customize into a more Generation 1, Japanese Generation 1 accurate color scheme, I will probably have him pop the shoulders off, but just turning them around like that is perfectly fine and valid. Yes, you have the rivet holes. Yes, I'm okay with that. Head is on a ball joint, though it is a little bit limited thanks to that gigantic chin of his. And before moving on with the posability, that head sculpt is mwah, chef's kiss good. Arms are on a series of swivels, and then hinges, and then swivels at the upper arm, double bend at the elbow for the transformation, and then the wrists are on swivels. The treads on the back of the arms can be posed and moved and swung out of the way, so, I mean, this is all for the transformation, but it is nice that they can be moved and kind of swiveled out of the way for different poses. I do appreciate that. There is a torso swivel, but it is limited because, well, the backpack chunk just hits the side skirts and then can't do much more. Side skirts are posable. They are part of the transformation, however. Legs can kick forward at 90 degrees, can kick back almost 90 degrees, can kick out all the way, and then there is a thigh swivel, a bend at the knee, and then an ankle joint, which we have already talked about. Then the heels have a little bit of movement to them for stability in different poses. Something to keep in mind when posing and playing with the figure is that the shoulders have a tendency to come unpegged. It's not super tight, but it's not super loose either, so just be wary of that. It's not really a flaw, it's just the fact that, well, they're friction pegs, so they're not going to be that tight. When compared to Studio Series, Scourge, and Cyclonus, I'm just smitten. He is a little bit bigger than Cyclonus, which I always thought Galvatron was about the same size as Cyclonus, but this works fine. And he towers over Scourge, which I kind of always figured that was the case. These evil lads look so good together. It's just a shame that you've got all this char smutch on him. Again, I'll be getting rid of that myself. Now this is the absolute hardest part of the transformation. There are little tabs on the inside of these flaps that form the shoulders, and they peg into these tiny little slots that are just at the bottom of the chest. Getting the peg and the slot lined up is incredibly difficult, and already my figure is marring, or the plastic I should say, is marring pretty badly in there. What I end up having to do is line everything up, get them lined up, and then push them in, and it really makes a very unsatisfying and, quite frankly, really disturbing crunching, cracking noise that I really don't like. And here we have Galvatron in his alt mode, the artillery cannon. This works really well. Now I realize that isn't really as cartoon accurate as the original or for the Generation 1 figure, but considering everything they've got to do in order to get that super G1 accurate robot mode into a cannon mode, the designers and developers of this figure really did a dang good job. I'm very happy with what we have here. And this transformation is, once you do it once, maybe twice, it's super intuitive. The directions are also really, really good, which I am flabbergasted at. They are just big and super readable. They're nice. And heck, this figure is nice, and everything about it is nice, except for the schmutz. Now this little hole right here at the bottom of the cannon mode is for the matrix. The chain matrix has this little peg that goes right there and sits right there. I like that. I really do. You can do the same thing in robot mode. It just doesn't work as well. It it looks real stupid if you do that. You can also peg the ships in this mode. Once you do get them pegged on, though, it looks like extreme overkill for his cannon mode, because, well, Galvatron has blown up multiple planets using his cannon. At least he blew up Char, I think. Now, I will be the first to let you know that this doesn't line up one for one, the pegs on the outside of Scorponok's arms, but you can peg the back of Galvatron into one of those pegs and give Scorponok a death cannon. Cool! You know what works even better for Galvatron and Scorponok? Being held by Scorponok as a gun. Simply flip up the rear supports, give him a handle, move the arms around a little bit for the treads, and voila! Scorponok's got a new gun. I adore this figure, flaws and all. And I realize that this might not be the cup of tea for everybody, but for me, it's scratching that itch that I didn't know I had. I didn't realize I had always wanted a near-perfect Galvatron figure. And here we have one. And I love it. So folks, let me know what you think of Galvatron down in the comments. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. A big thank you to all my patrons, because they're helping me get figures and keeping the lights on. As always, I have been BaltMatrix, and I'll catch you all next time. Hello everyone, I'm BaltMatrix, and today we're taking a look at everybody's favorite chopper face, Voyager-class Kingdom Dinobot. I don't think it's an exaggeration when I say that this is the best version of Dinobot we've ever gotten outside of the Masterpiece figure. I do own the Masterpiece figure. I'm not going to be reviewing it because everybody else has done it better, and I just can't out-review Jobby. The figure is a pretty good size. It stands around the same height as a current Voyager-class figure with the rest of the other lines, but it is just a smidge shorter than Studio Series Voyager-class figures. As an example, here's Voyager-class Scourge, who he's actually bigger than, and Cyclonus, whose he's almost the same height as. Maybe I misspoke. Let's check out some Beast Wars figures. Optimus Primal, Bird Lady, Incorrectly Colored Kitty, and a Filthy Dirty Rat. Now, other than Rat Trap being in rat mode and being held up by Dinobot, I think the scaling works incredibly well here. The overall scale for Dinobot versus Primal and then the Deluxes is spot on, I think, because in the show, Dinobot was at least a head bigger than Primal. Man, all I need is a Rhinox, and then the original 5 will be together. Hopefully I get that soon. Before we get into the posability of this robot mode, which is excellent, I do want to point out that you could store the entire tail on his back with no problem whatsoever, and it just pops right off at the bottom. Yeah, it's perfect. It's just really great. I love the fact that you can store the tail back there. Now, posability-wise, head is on a ball joint. We've got a swivel and then a hinge joint, and then a hinge joint, and then a swivel joint, and then a hinge joint, and then a swivel joint, and then more hinge joints. Yeah, that's like 400 joints in the arms. Torso swivel, can kick forward, can kick back, can kick out, can turn, can bend at the knee, and then ankle articulation and foot articulation for the transformation. Or I should say heel articulation. And the foot does wiggle back and forth. And that's my only real problem with the figure in terms of posability. That heel is just a little bit too loose, or that ankle joint is just a little bit too loose for my taste. Nothing I can't fix on my own. Dinobot is able to wield the accessories very well. However, I think the tail could be a little bit chunkier, but it works in the beast mode. And then the sword, I think the sword is purple. That ain't right. That sword should be a different color. Now, something I was very worried about with the sword, it was, how strong is it? This thing is tough. This thing is sturdy. However, the connector bit is really thin and is already starting to mar a little bit, which I'm not sure how I managed that, considering I just transform it and get it out of the tail. Storing the figure's weapons together is very easy. Just snap them together and close it up. Now, the first time I did this, it was, how do I put this? Terrifying. Because getting this thing open the first time was really kind of scary. But then, after doing it once or twice, it's loosened up, so I just get my nail in there and it pops right open, thankfully. But I have heard of breakage regarding the tail, so just be wary. Plugging the tail up to the butt is super easy, and just get it up there. Just get it up there. Yeah. The one thing I really hate is the little purple sticking off the tail. That just looks stupid. All right, let's go ahead and get into the transformation. To start off with, we're going to come to the back and simply unpeg the entire tail and get it up and out of the way. And then take the arms and fold them up at the shoulders. Reach inside each individual shoulder or just underneath and fold out the dino limbs or dino hands. Then come to the front and you see these little eyes that are on the side next to his ribs. Grab them and pull them straight out to the side so you're literally butterflying the poor bugger. Then take the entire head, unpeg it from the back of the dino head, and fold the entire rear section of the dinosaur mode out like so. And then unpeg the tail and the robot head, and then you could flip the tail around and plug it in just above the dinosaur head to close that whole section up. Next, take the little dinosaur hands and pull them out as far as they will go. Then come to the rear of what will be the rear quarter of the dinosaur mode, and those sections that we flayed out actually fold up and cover over the openings, and then straighten out the dinosaur arms, or the robot arms, and then the whole section will fold down and peg into place on top of the little shoulder bits. Grab the legs and turn the entire torso around 180 degrees. Fold the feet up and fold the heels into the feet. And then these whole sections will just fold back. And they're at the tips of the kneecaps are these little peg holes, and they will peg in to these little sections that are sticking off the body. I forgot a step. Before you fold the legs up, you really should open up the shins and fold them up, and they will fit underneath the dinosaur body, because if you don't, you won't be able to finish the transformation. The dinosaur mode we end up with looks pretty darn good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. Yeah, you've got robot kibble hanging off the bottom, but I kind of expected that. I mean, none of these Beast Wars figures that we have here are perfect in alt mode. They're good enough. They're good enough. I mean, it does the job. This is exactly what I wanted out of a modern Dinobot. It's pretty darn good. The coloring is, I think, a little off, but my buddy Grimlockamus did a paint job of this guy into a much more show-accurate version, and that really works for me. I don't know why Hasbro didn't do that, but what am I going to do about it other than paint it myself or pay Grimlockamus to do it for me? The dumbest thing about this alt mode are these weird, weak little raptor hands. Like, there are a couple of third-party folks out there that have replacement hands, and I'm definitely going to invest in them because that's just stupid. Dino head or mouth opens and closes. He's got a nice little painted tongue in there, and that works really well for me. I think it's really cool. I'm just sad that he can't do the meme. Well, that's kind of meme-esque, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Posability of the legs is a bit limited because of the shell that's here, and as soon as you start picking it up, things have a tendency to come out of place. Not much I can do about that either. But yeah, it's Dino mode. It works pretty well. And it's coming for your face! In terms of scale, we have Beast Wars Core Class Rat Trap, Deluxe Class Cheetor, Deluxe Class Bird, and who cares, I'm a mother effing gorilla. Figure scales quite nicely with all of them. I just need Rhinox. This is my hands-down favorite Dinobot figure ever. Yes, there is the Masterpiece, but it is such a pain to transform. Then there is the Classics version of the figure, which wasn't great. It was good for the time. And then the original, which it was its own thing, and it was the 90s, so we'll leave it at that. Overall, totally worth owning, especially if you're a Beast Wars fan. Totally worth picking up, even if you aren't. This is a great toy. This is a great figure. And it looks great standing next to a gorilla. Yeah, it's that good. Alright folks, let me know what you think of Dinobot down in the comments. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to get notified that I have a new video out by hitting that bell. This has been BaltMatrix, and I will catch you next time. Hello everyone, I'm BaltMatrix, and today it's time for the first episode in a long-running series of Clean the Despot! This is the pilot episode, we'll say. Hey, Galvatron, great figure, like him a lot. However, he's a little dirty. So, in this episode, we're going to go ahead and show you how to clean him up. For the cleaning of Galvatron, you will need 2 additional items besides the figure itself. 1 bottle of isopropyl alcohol, 91% proof, please. 1 roll of paper towels. Yeah, seriously, that's it. This is all we're going to need. Simply go ahead and get yourself some paper towel, maybe 1 or 2 sheets. Just fold them over, squirt or pour some isopropyl alcohol in it. And what I like to do is just kind of wrap it around my finger, get your figure, and pull off the cannon. It's going to fall off when we do this anyway if you're not holding it. And go ahead and start rubbing. As you see, I like to fold it over and go from there, but it isn't going to require much pressure. Just enough to hold the paper towel down onto the figure and get just a little bit of friction. And start rubbing. Start rubbing. And, oh, hey, look, it's what? 20 seconds in, and that little splotch is already halfway gone. Yeah, 20 seconds. 30 seconds, 40 seconds maybe, and we're almost done with that one thing. Why? Why did they even bother doing this if it comes off with just a little bit of alcohol, not the wine or beer variety? So yeah, five minutes later, I have a clean chest. It's not 100%. I've still got some residue from the paper towels, and I've still got a couple of other tiny little spots to fix. And I can see where folks would want to get a Q-tip, where folks would actually want to get a Q-tip, because some of these bits are a little bit hard to get to, even with a big old paper towel. So, yeah, 5 minutes. I mean, it literally took me 5 minutes to get to this point. Well, is there some more cleanup needed? Absolutely. But a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, some paper towels, and a little elbow grease, and you'll have a clean Galvatron in no time. So do you have a Galvatron that needs cleaned up? You know what you need to do. Let me know what you think of this down in the comments. And hey, if you do this to your Galvatron, let me know. Follow me over on Twitter, take a picture, and show me. Thanks so much for watching. I've been BaltMatrix, and I'll catch you later. Okay, folks, I know I told you that this video was over, but I need to give you a quick update. 10 minutes. Not even. I think it came to like 9 minutes and 15 seconds to clean up all of this, just to get all of it done. I realize I'm not done yet. I've still got a little bit of touch-up to do in cleaning it off, and that's where I will probably need a Q-tip or at least a toothpick or something. But I need to show you the feet. The feet have this weird strip of gray silver paint. And on this side it doesn't because I cleaned it off. Now, here is my little piece of paper towel with a splotch on it. And I've not done anything to prime this. I haven't done anything to prepare this. Done. Look. I mean, it comes right off. It came off with just a little bit of alcohol. Like, I'm flabbergasted. I am literally dumbfounded at how easy that is. What is the point of painting it if it just comes off with a paper towel?